Hey folks, John with Alternate Arms, your friend in less lethal self-defense.
Yep.
And y'all know this dude. Y'all met him, right?
It's me.
Yeah, this is that intruder that keeps taking over my channel.
I got the jersey on, so now it's serious, all right?
Serious?
I brought the jersey
oh, yeah,
for
guys,
today.
this one is actually kind of serious, right?
Yep.
I mean, you'd say that. Guys, this is a video that I will tell you 100% is categorically, disapproved of?
That's one way to put it.
By the company that we're doing the review for.
Yeah.
We were not authorized by them in any way, shape, or form to do this review.
It's a really light way to put it, not authorized.
Yeah, we were, yeah. I mean, guys, listen, you know us, right? Truth.
Yep.
That's the only thing you've got. The only thing you have in the entire world is your word.
And this is a life-saving device.
This is a life-saving device, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, because you're right. People are going to count on it. One of these days, someone's going to come up with a knife. Someone's going to pull it out. They're going to count on it to work right off the bat. So I thought about this, Luke, and you tell me what you think.
Okay.
I want to recuse myself from this video. And I'll tell you why.
So I get yelled at?
I'm going to tell you, no, because Kurt is a friend of mine.
Yep.
Right? Grimburg is a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. You guys know this. And I feel like that would make my opinion biased. Mm-hmm. So I want to make absolutely sure that this stays by the numbers. And you are the numbers guy, right? I mean, you are.
Yeah.
You always have been. So guys, I'm going to let Luke handle this review. And I'm thinking, and tell me what you think about this. I think we need to rate this on two different scales, kind of like we did with like the PTX, right? Mm-hmm. There is a, holy crap, this is cool to go out and practice. It's a work of art. It's killer. And then there is the, this will put a human being down if they're attacking me, right? So I'm thinking if we approach this from both stances,
right?
And I'll let you take this. I do not want to influence how you're going to do it.
And by the way, I know the implication is that this is going to be a thrashing. That's not the case.
It isn't.
There are some goods and some bads with this launcher. We're going to discuss both of them. We're going to test fire it. It's going to be a long video. That's why I'm going to chapter this video, so you can skip all this if you want to watch specific portions. So,
yeah, and at the end of this video, guys, there is something really kind of neat. And it kind of, you want to talk about out of the blue, guys. Remember we were talking about how this was not an authorized video. Well, during our conversation, it did bring up something that is pretty cool that I want you guys to know about because it's actually neat that they're doing this. So, Luke, I'm going to leave this to you, man. If you need me, I'm going to be running away.
Okay. Yeah.
You enjoy yourself, all right? And take over. Bye, guys.
Hey, folks. Luke with Alternate Arms. So, as my father insinuated in the intro, this was sent to us by a viewer. Shout out, well, maybe I won't say his name. If you want to reveal yourself, feel free to do it in the comments. But to the viewer who sent this to us, thank you. We've been trying to get a Grimburg Solstice for quite a long time now. And the irony is now that the launcher has essentially been discontinued as they're no longer taking sales on it, we should probably put this on the discontinued line. But before we do that, I got to review this thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Grimburg Solstice. Prior to firing the launcher and getting into the nitty-gritty, I want to explain to you the necessity for such a launcher and why Grimburg went to this design. And for that, I'm going to have to bring out the original gavel. Now, the Grimburg gavel was the first pistol released by Grimburg, and this product, extremely popular as it was, had a few design issues which actually turned quite a few people away from them, namely the inability to effectively reload. In order to reload, you had to use an Allen key to remove this bolt here, and then out would come the spring and the follower. You would load the launcher and then throw this back in, screw it back in, and congratulations, it's ready to fire. Additionally, in terms of the piercing mechanism, you had a threaded 16-gram CO2 that would go in there, and in order to pierce the CO2, you would twist the 16-gram CO2 to the point where it would pierce, and then it would be ready to fire. So those were two, what I would call, design mistakes that turned a lot of people away from this launcher. Otherwise, in terms of power and concealability, it was actually pretty decent. So this brings us to the Solstice. With the Grimburg Solstice, he looked to address both of these issues. Now, this has a separate magazine. Not only does it have a separate magazine, but the 16-gram CO2 is integrated with the magazine, which means for every magazine you swap out, you get a fresh CO2 and thus full power. The piercing mechanism is actually located inside of the magwell. There's the CO2. Piercing mechanism is right in there. And as you can probably guess, the way that it works is when you have the magazine inside of the launcher, it's not quite ready to go, but for it to fire, you pop the bottom of the magazine, which pierces the CO2, and then she's good to fire. Whenever you're ready for a new magazine, you bring this out, which I'm gonna come to what I just did in a second, and then you throw in the new magazine, boom. If you slap it in hard enough, pierce the next CO2, ready to fire. So in theory, a very solid design. A few of the small issues that I have with this particular design is that because of the design of the mag well, since the magazine had to be so large, the walls on the mag well are relatively thin and thus pliable. With them being pliable, when you would go to remove the magazine with an unpunctured CO2, it was very difficult to slide this thing out. And that is because, of course, by nature, when you're going to remove the magazine, you're going to squeeze on the grip and thus put tension on the magazine itself, making it more difficult to pop out. Now, with a little bit of CO2 left inside of the magazine, when you go to pop it out, that CO2 would propel the magazine out. We're gonna actually test that in the firing video, but I just wanted to explain to you one of the things that I was kind of iffy on. Now, the first thing you'll probably notice when you look at this launcher is it is quite large. Just to give you guys a point of reference, I have an Intrabuster Gen 2, which is also a fairly large launcher, that I'm going to place adjacent to the Solstice. And looking at them side by side, you can see they are roughly the same size. Now, the reason why is because with less lethal, we are limited by physics. We're using a 68 caliber projectile, which is already a large projectile, and we're using 12 gram, or in this case, a 16 gram CO2 cartridge, which is a large cartridge. Now, when it comes to power, you're limited by two things. One is the chamber size, and then number two is the length of the barrel, because obviously, with a sufficiently large chamber, if you have a short barrel, you have a ton of air wastage, and thus not a lot of power. But with this launcher in particular, as you can see, we have a slight extension on the barrel, and that is to make use for the excess of air that comes out of this chamber. So again, when it comes to concealability and less lethal, we are limited by physics, and that is why all of the most powerful less lethals on the market are about the same size. Now, in terms of some of the positives with this launcher, this does of course have a footprint in order for you to put a red dot on the top of the launcher. Additionally, it has a Picatinny rail on the bottom for you to fit lights, lasers, any attachment you can think of. And also, in an absolute sense, this is quite a bit lighter than other launchers of a similar size, and that is primarily due to its polymer design. As you can see, this is a mostly polymer launcher. Just to show you guys, I'm going to compare the weight between this and the Pistel X68. Now, once again, the Solstice itself is actually a relatively light launcher. Without the magazine, with that all polymer design, you get a weight of 1 pound and 2 ounces. Now, if we were to just do a side-by-side comparison with the Pistel, you get 1 pound and 7 ounces. Pistel's a little bit heavier, and then the Intrabuster we know is quite a bit heavier at 1 pound and 14 ounces. When you put the magazine in this launcher, which is an all-aluminum custom-made magazine, you realize that most of the weight is actually in the magazine. Now we're sitting for the carry weight without any ammo at 1 pound 14 ounces for the Solstice, which puts it actually at about the same weight as the Intrabuster or the Pistel with the magazines in. Now, just as a demonstration showing the size comparison, we have the Solstice on the bottom, the Pistel in the middle, and then the Intrabuster Gen 2 on the top. And as you can see, they are functionally identical in dimensions. For those of you who have either the Intrabuster or the Pistel, if you do pick up a Solstice, it is going to be roughly the same size. Now, onto the firing portion, we are going to be using Grimburg Joules, which these magnetic iron-infused nylon projectiles are sitting at 7.8 grams. My only issue with these is that very visible seam that hopefully the camera can pick up. Whenever you have a seam in spherical projectiles, you obviously have issues with both wobbling and an inconsistency with accuracy. So just something to note here, don't use projectiles with seams on them. All right, folks, time to test this thing, the moment you've been waiting for. We're gonna load in 6 of these Grimburg Joules, which once again, these are all pretty heavily seamed, not too sure as to why. There are plenty of seamless projectiles out there that are iron-infused nylon, so whatever, for some reason, they're seamed. So we're gonna go ahead and load these rounds in, and then we're gonna test them. One thing to note is we are currently sitting in 78 degrees on the ambient temperature, so this is a little bit higher than what would be considered optimal for CO2, which means we should get a little bit more power out of it. So, gonna go ahead and throw these rounds in, and then let's go to shoot this thing. Okay, one thing I wanna note real quick is that while I'm attempting to load this, this magazine, this lever here really wants to retract back and shoot all the rounds out of the magazine. So it seems like it's good now. So I'm gonna go ahead and We're gonna chrono this thing. We're gonna act like this is a self-defense situation whereby I'm gonna go ahead and already have the magazine in. That way, all I need to do is pierce the launcher, fire it. Let's see how much power we get, boys and girls. Once again, 7.8 gram projectiles in a 78-degree environment. Let's see what kind of power we get. 3, 2, 1. Three, two, one. 279 FPS, all right. 273. 233. 228. 210. 205, and I believe that was the last one. Yep, so then now, ostensibly, you would pop out this magazine, which should be assisted by the CO2, and yeah, shoots out the magazine pretty fast, so just like that, you would then, of course, pop in the new magazine, which would pierce, and then you go to continue firing. So, and now the magazine doesn't want to come out. Hang on, sorry. Okay. Sorry, hold on. I promise I'm not that weak. I think it's because I put it back in with the CO2 depressurized, maybe. Hold on. Okay. Hang on. All right, so I enlisted some assistance in this endeavor because, as you saw, I was having difficulty. The thing that's happening right now is I'm able to pop the magazine out, and it goes about an inch or so. Maybe we'll text Kurt and ask. But okay. Beyond this, it does not come out.
It sounds like it's hooking on something.
And proof of that is we're going to hold down. I'm going to hold down this mechanism. Can you try to pull it out?
Just to illustrate that this is not something we're making.
Yep.
Hear that?
Yeah, it's
hitting.
It sounds like it's catching on something.
I feel it's like it's catching on this guide.
Can you pull on it a little more?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's not going to come out like that. I don't want to break it.
No, you're right. Okay.
Can you unscrew the CO2 from here?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try that.
Okay. Be right back. Okay, so removing the CO2 from the back. I guess it's actually kind of a cool design that you're able to do this.
It actually is.
I'm not
I like that.
too terribly sure if this is the cause, but I guess we'll see. Okay, CO2. CO2 is out. Okay. I'm gonna even keep the bolt out. Now let's see.
That is a good function of the hole, by the way.
Okay, It came out. So I think the pin was stuck on the CO2, and the reason why I say that is because obviously whenever CO2 vaporizes, there's an extreme temperature difference. I think it's stuck to that CO2.
It obviously, when we removed it, it came right out.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're right. This was sticking on the puncture pin.
Okay.
So right now, can you insert and remove the magazine normally?
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Let's see it.
Just point it out.
Magazine in.
Okay.
Magazine out. Okay. So it's fine.
That is all that happened. The CO2 had stuck on there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is good to know, right? Because if it ever does happen, depending on what brand of CO2 you're using.
Right.
If you ever have that issue, just drop the CO2 cartridge, and then it'll come right out.
I think I have another issue.
What is it?
I think the latch here got stuck on the follower here, the guide for the rounds, so now the magazine won't push down. Hold on.
What?
Just one thing to note whenever you guys are reloading this launcher, if you have the issue where it is, I'll show you exactly what happens. If you have the issue where the follower here is too high up and you can't push it back down, you will need to re-release the lever here that holds onto the projectiles to then push down that follower. Otherwise, you will not be able to reload the launcher. So just something to note, maybe just like a design flaw, or it could even be just like a launcher-specific thing, but just something to note.
And this, honestly, okay, the truth is, this issue with that magazine, this in itself is not horrible. At least you could fire it. You could fire the magazine, right?
Yep.
I am curious as to why that's stuck.
My only concern is in a self-defense situation, if I need to swap out the magazine and all of a sudden the magazine doesn't come out, then what? Are you interested in how much power it made?
Actually, I am. What'd you get?
All right, so at 279 feet per second with the 7.8 gram projectiles, we were getting 28.2 joules. And just to, just to show everyone, so we have 7.8 grams on the projectile mass, 279 feet per second for the velocity, which brings us to 28.2 joules. So,
and are these the Grimburg joules?
These are the Grimburg joules that came with the launcher. I was actually mentioning all of these have a pretty heavy seam on them, so I don't know how I feel about that. Obviously, with these are injection molded, right?
Yeah,
Iron infused nylon rounds, or no?
I believe that they're injection molded. We'd have to verify that.
Okay, but these have pretty heavy seams. But yeah, under 30 joules. don't really feel good about that because it's the same size as the pistol and the Intrabuster.
And it surprises me because Grimburg...
78 degrees, by the way. It's not cold in here.
It's not a temperature issue.
Should be noted.
So the thing about Grimburg is that really blows my mind, Luke, and I mean, this is something that we'll probably talk about later, but these guys are the kings of power.
Yep.
When they released the gavel, dude, it was
Isn't it like 45 joules or something like that?
45 to 50 or better. I mean, it was
crazy.
A monster. Now, I know, well, you know what? We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Finish your testing.
Yes.
And then we'll get back to
Because I need to do trigger pull testing. The initial trigger pull on this thing is pretty hard. So I'm going to go grab the trigger pull tester. Let's see how hard the trigger pull is on the initial shot in this launcher.
And I'll see you guys at the end of the video.
All right. All right, now, just like we did before, I'm going to go ahead and put the magazine in the launcher, and let's go ahead and pierce it. Okay. It is primed and ready to go. We have our trigger pull tester here. Let's go ahead and fire. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's good. 3 pounds, 5 ounces. One more time. 3, 2, 1. 5 pounds, 3 ounces. So really, it's actually about in line with the Intrabuster or the pistol. One more time. A little more, 7 pounds, 8 ounces. 6 pounds, 1 ounces. So a little variable. We're looking at anywhere from 3 to 7 pounds for the trigger pull weight, which is in line for industry standard. At the end of the day, the trigger is activating that chamber in the CO2, so it is going to be a little bit heavier than a firearm. But the one thing to note is that the grip on this launcher is relatively large, just like the other two aforementioned launchers. So you are going to have to grip this thing pretty tight in order to reach that trigger to fire it. So just to show you guys, whenever you reach it, and as you guys saw, whenever you're near the end of that magazine, it does take a little bit for the launcher to reset. So let's go ahead and take out this magazine, which this is the best part. And let's go conduct another test. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the venerable Isuzu Rodeo, and we also happen to have the owner of said Isuzu Rodeo. This is Logan, one of the employees at the airsoft field, and today you get to shoot your own car. Yeah, the way that this launcher works, super simple. All you have to do is you have to smash the bottom of this. You'll hear it pressurize, and then you just shoot it. We're going to have you shoot that back door, and we're going to put you at about 10 feet away. So we're going to put you right at that doorway. I'm going to move the camera in a little bit closer so that it can get a direct sight as to the damage done to this door. But you think you can do it?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Here's the launcher. Before you shoot it, what do you think about it initially?
Honestly, grip is meaty.
Really big grip?
Yeah. It's got both the ammo and the CO2, from my knowledge. As a guy with shorter hands, or smaller hands, it's a little big, but I can still use it. So hold it nice and tight.
Time for you to bully your poor Isuzu. All right, so once again, I'm going to step back, but the target is the back door right here. And I'm going to step back, so whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and pressurize it, and then you'll shoot it. The ricochet will bring it to the left, so it's not going to go near us. Whenever you're ready. Woo! You got a few more. All right, and that is all of them. So, not too bad. Now, just to show you guys for reference, so these are the shots that were done on the Rodeo, just to show you the depth right here. And we did the test with our Defensor, the HDC-68, which of course is a rifle and shoots at 45 joules instead of 28. But just to show you guys the difference in depth, that would be the Defensor. And then here's the Solstice. Now, of course, that's an apples and oranges comparison, pistol versus rifle. But as you can see, the Solstice still did quite a bit of damage. So what were your initial thoughts? Now that you got to shoot the thing, what do you think?
Honestly, as my first time using a self-defense pistol or any weapon.
The less lethal, yeah.
Less lethal, yeah. It honestly wasn't horrible. I had to rearrange my grip towards the front a little more.
So that you could pull the trigger.
Rotating to pull the trigger more comfortably.
All right, now I want to surprise you. Drop the magazine. Can you take it out? There you go. Yeah. So usually if you have sufficient enough CO2 left, whenever you go to drop the magazine, it'll actually shoot the thing out because all the rest of the CO2 in there will shoot it out. But yeah, there you go. You got to shoot the Solstice, man.
Heck yeah.
All right, let's take it back into the office. All right, folks, so this was the Grimburg Solstice. Now, if you're excited about getting this launcher, I have some bad news for you. And that is that you can't even buy this launcher right now. If you look on their website, they've already moved on to the Carry V2, which is something we'll talk about in just a moment. But the Grimburg Solstice, although short-lived, was a pretty neat launcher. Didn't make a ton of power in my opinion, and I have to judge this as a life-saving device. And judging this as a life-saving device, I have to sadly say that I would not recommend carrying this. Now, once again, didn't make a ton of power. The cool thing, the one thing I do really like about it is that this integrated magazine with the CO2 does allow you to have full power for every magazine. But when full power is 28 joules, there are other launchers that make quite a bit more power. But again, ultimately it's up to the eye of the beholder. And with that, I guess it's time to bring my father in. All right, so someone's here.
You got to tell me what you're talking about
Okay.
here. All right.
All right, so
All right, what did you find out?
just like I was telling them, the launcher is similarly sized to the pistol and the intrabuster, so I was expecting or hoping for similar power, 40 to 50 joules.
Is the weight about the same?
The weight is about the same. It's a little bit lighter without the magazine since it has a polymer design, but with the magazine, it's actually about the same weight as the other two. It's a little more than half the power of the pistol in our testing, maybe 70% of the power of the intrabuster.
I thought,
But yeah.
I thought I'd seen results in this where it was hitting in the low 30s.
It could be variable. Again, we were using the Grimburg joules that were provided to us. We measured the
Oh,
mass
so you were running
beforehand.
joules, okay.
Yes. So they're 7.8 gram projectiles, 279 FPS was the max power we got out of it. Hadn't fired the launcher yet, so it was on fresh CO2, 78 degree ambient temperature. I don't really know what the reason could be for the relatively low power. All of the size would indicate that it would make quite a bit more. But 28 joules, that's what we have to work with, so
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Overall construction.
The construction itself is pretty nice. I only had a few minor gripes with it, primarily the fact that the magwell here is designed to where the perimeter of the magwell is really thin, so whenever you go to release the magazine, you're squeezing the magwell, which of course squeezes the magazine, which makes it difficult to pop out. So,
Okay.
even with a partially pressurized CO2, we just tested shooting the Isuzu, my employee Logan. He had a relatively difficult time taking the magazine out.
Okay.
So, yeah, which by the way, he loves shooting it. So
Did he get a kick
that
out of
was
it?
good.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a smaller guy. He's around 5'6", 5'7", so a little bit smaller hands. He had the same issue where the grip is actually pretty large, so he had to rotate his hand around in order to fire it properly. So I would say for people with smaller hands, maybe wouldn't be super prudent.
Big guy.
But then again, I say the exact same thing about the intrabuster and about the pistol.
Right.
Large gun, large grip.
You know, I'd heard a lot of people, and they were talking about the trigger pull on these. What are we doing on this?
So I was actually surprised. It was less than I thought. It was anywhere from 4 to 7 pounds, depending on where it was. It was a little variable, but yeah, 4 to 7 pounds.
That's
so-
acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
Yeah.
that. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. And do you, I know you probably didn't look at this, but I'm kind of curious. Do you know?
Different threads.
Oh,
I did look
you
at
did
it.
look.
I wanted to see if the rear ASA would fit, and it did not. Different
Yeah,
threads.
because it got me to thinking if you could put an ASA and a 88 gram on the back of that, that'd be
I'm sure
pretty
he
brutal.
he could design it. You know what?
He could, but
Be done with the tier. Let's go ahead and turn this into a carbine.
dude, you could turn that into a
pistol
carbine. It'd be a
carbine, right?
sick carbine, right?
Yeah.
It really would. Dude, that actually is lighter than I thought it
So
was going
it's
to be.
because it doesn't have the magazine. So with the aluminum magazine in, it weighs about the same as the pistol and
Dude,
the intrabuster with the magazine in.
the
I know they
magazine
weigh similar.
weighs the same as the
this
gun.
This is 12 ounces. This is 1 pound 2 ounces. So
Wow.
it's almost the same weight. So put the magazine in,
Okay.
and then you'll see what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's
it
what
changed the
you're
mass quite a bit. But the good news is, and I actually talked about this in one of the prior physics videos, is that when you have a launcher that is very back heavy, it helps to roll the launcher back into your hand. So whenever you're holding it, it feels lighter. It gives you that feeling that it's lighter because it's rolling back in your hand instead of being front heavy where you have it slooping down. So actually, I do prefer having a back heavy launcher over a front heavy launcher.
So I think that you are thinking kind of the same thing I am.
Yeah.
The design I like. I don't even mind the fact that it's kind of big. I really
Yep.
don't mind that because honestly, for a bigger guy, this would be absolutely no problem.
Oh,
at
so
all.
you like the launcher?
I actually kind of like
Well,
the.
too bad you can't buy one.
Aw.
Because they're not on the website right now. Because we moved on to the Carry V2.
Do you think that might be why Kurt never shipped this one? No, I don't know.
Well, if that's the case, then we'd have a Carry V2 here, wouldn't we?
We would have a Carry V2. Well, okay, guys.
Time to pull out the Carry V2.
All right, I got news
kidding.
for you. I got news for you. All right, on
Yeah.
this front, and I promise
Okay.
you may not even know this. They are shipping currently what they have built. So the ones that they have built, they are shipping out.
Yeah, so for those who have pre-ordered the Solstice,
You're going to get it.
you're still going to get your
It's
launcher.
still coming.
They just discontinued for further purchasing. Right?
Right, correct. And Kurt told me, you don't know about this, this was actually a pretty cool move on his part. The Carry V2. Now, guys, listen. Everything I'm about to tell you, take as hypothetical because I have no proof of this except for what Kurt told me, okay?
Hopefully he comments, by the way.
Kurt, please, guys, drop comment. Talk to these people. Let them know what you're thinking, how you're feeling about this. He has the initial prototype of the V2 ready, and he has told me that he has put, this is a quote, hundreds of rounds through one, and has never failed, not even once. No issues whatsoever. Now that, to me,
that's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Now here's the better sign. If you have pre-ordered a Solstice and you want to move into a V2 instead,
shoot him an email.
Shoot him an email. That is pretty damn cool,
I don't know
guys.
if there's any price difference. I don't know if he mentioned a price difference. Or shoot him an email and then ask. Yeah,
guys, listen, once again, I'm talking about it because I have no idea about this real, but I can tell you from the pictures I've seen, and even off of his own videos, the V2 is smaller than this.
Right.
And that's huge.
Right.
Guys, we were supposed to have one. We don't have one to test. I cannot tell you what it's going to do.
Right.
I can't tell you what power it's going to produce. I can't tell you what it weighs with the trigger pull. I can't tell you jack, except that they have videos up on their website or YouTube channel that show the incremental changes that they made and the upgrades to them. That is the only thing we're going to be able to do. And I can pretty much tell you, Luke, we're not going to get one for the channel. Kurt, I don't think that he likes big reviews on the channel. I really don't. And listen,
well,
I get it.
We're objective, so
we are objective.
If I don't like a launcher, I'm going to tell you I don't like a launcher. It doesn't matter what our personal feelings are towards the specific people. Like, at the end of the day, the only opinions we care about is the person watching this video right now.
That's right.
We don't care about the manufacturers, none of that.
So, since I have no idea what your testing was. In a scenario where you buy this as a cool piece to go out and plink and to shoot and to target shoot.
See, I reject the premise of the question only because this is sold as a self-defense life-saving device, so I'm going to judge it as a self-defense life-saving device. Sure, as a plinker, the Pepper Wasp is a great plinker because it shoots like 8 joules.
Yeah, it arcs going 12 feet.
It's a great throwing. It's a great throwing device, though. But no, I mean, again, judging this as a life-saving device, 28 joules out of the box is not a ton of power. Maybe it's fine for pepper balls, but certainly for kinetic projectiles, it's not sufficient. The only thing I do have to say that I really do like about it, again, is this integrated CO2. So if we can get this thing to shoot more power,
really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we were getting 50 or 55 joules like we are out of the similarly sized launchers, and every time you swap the magazine you get fresh CO2, it'd be good.
And in my opinion, that's the magic. This right here, this is the magic behind this launcher.
Yes, absolutely.
The rest of the launcher is basically a reskinned gavel, right? With lower power. That's basically what it is. It's a reskinned gavel with lower power. But this is the magic. This is also what the V2 uses.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, when you were charging, did you have any issues at all as far as charging that charge up every time? Or?
No. So every now and again, and I think I do mention it in the video, it did take a second for that initial vaporization of CO2 to occur in the chamber. So there was like a fraction of a second delay between puncturing and firing.
Okay. How did you feel about rapid fire? Was it firing smoothly rapid fire?
No. There was a half second or more delay between each shot that I had to wait for the CO2 to vaporize sufficiently enough
for the bolt to reset.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so the bolt reset. And actually, that is something that we've heard pretty consistently, that it takes a little bit of and it's not 3 seconds here, okay? But it takes a little bit of time for the bolt to reset.
But the implication is that it's filling up a relatively large air chamber, so you would think it'd be more
power.
But we were getting 28 joules all the way down to less than 20 on the last shot. So I don't know if you would consider that acceptable power. Again, 78 degrees, 7.8 gram projectiles. Optimal. We're talking optimal. The rounds that the
Grimburg CO2, Grimburg rounds.
Right.
And in a warm temperature.
Right. 16 gram CO2, so I mean,
it's about as optimal as you could possibly get as far as that testing goes.
The power was suboptimal.
Well, I mean, and that's, it is what it is, right? I mean, you got to remember, this industry, guys, has changed quickly over the years. And the people that have been able to move and dip in with this change are excelling. Pistel, Intrubuster. These are the companies that are doing really well.
Right.
The companies that did not listen to their customers, Berna, are having issues right now.
Right.
Kurt listens. I will tell you that. He does listen. And I can tell you that he actually cares about what you say. Dude, Kurt can get 100 good reviews And if one bad comes in, he will blow his crap. He literally will. He cares about what you guys think. So this is the magic of that launcher. If the V2 is as good as he says it is, and it is as good as it is in those videos,
Yeah.
this will be a great launcher. And when I say that he cares, Kurt, I'm addressing this to you. And I'm addressing this to you just like I addressed directly to Berna that time, okay? You need to respond to every customer. You need to realize that people that have any minor issues with your launcher are not attacking you personally, okay? In fact, you've got a lot of diehard fans, longtime Grimburg fans, that feel like sometimes they'll talk to you and they're getting a little attacked.
Including the guy who sent this launcher to us,
Including the guy that sent this launcher.
Yeah.
And he is a longtime fan, a huge fan.
Right.
And will continue to be. I guarantee it. He will continue. He will get a carry, right? But you don't take things personally. Just listen to your people and address
Improve the product, yes.
Yeah, improve the product. That's all you have to do.
Which, ostensibly, the Carry V2 is supposed to be an improvement upon the Solstice. So if that is the case,
Yes.
we would love to re-review it and give our thoughts on it. But again, in my opinion, I would not carry the Solstice as a life-saving device because there are much better alternatives out there for much cheaper. And that's just me being objective and honest. Pistel's half the price, almost half the price. Intrabuster's a third of the price with more power for both of the launchers. So at $749 with 28 joules, you're talking about around $26 per joule, which puts it almost as bad as the CL.
You know,
Yeah.
and guys, at the end of the day, and once again, this is not judgmental, it's simple numbers. The Berna, which is one of the most hated brands right now, everybody and their brother is going after these things because of the low power and high price.
Right.
But the LE has, I mean, is it arguably the same value proposition?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost the same power. We were getting like 23 or 24 joules out of it, and it's
Right.
around the same price. Of course, the main benefit, once again, is this magazine.
This
Literally,
is magic.
If you could make the proper launcher to surround this magazine, it'd be perfect. Again,
Yeah.
50 to 55 joules, which I would argue is industry standard for a kinetic energy launcher.
I agree.
And yeah, if you were to combine that with the proper launcher, I think it'd be perfect.
Yeah, it would. And, you know, and I'm all for the American-made thing, guys, but it's got to be American-made, solid as a rock.
Right.
Right? That's the way it is.
Right.
But
Well, and going back to Mercury Rise, I spent an entire video crapping on the Pepper Wasp, but I love the Intrabuster Gen 2. So
Yeah.
really, it's a product by product thing. I've never been a huge fan of the Grimburg products only because I never liked the reload mechanism. I do think he addressed the reload mechanism with this, but now I don't like the launcher. So I'm hoping that the Carry V2
does both.
can bring both of these together
Yeah.
and we can get a solid entry level, not entry level, but a solid everyday carry, less lethal launcher.
And
I'm
I
hoping
believe we
get that.
can.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe what he said is true and that this is really, really going to be a great launcher.
Right.
But once again, dude, if we can't see it, if we can't put our hands on it,
Right.
we cannot tell you guys objectively what
Right.
it's going to do. Guys, this video is not going to go over well with some people.
And I'm going to be honest,
But I
by
want
the
you
way.
to know this is for you.
Right, and I want to address Grimburg directly because I don't know, we've never really spoke directly. But the way that we were able to get this launcher, do you really think we're not going to get a Carry V2 eventually? Like
Seriously.
realistically, do you think we're not going to get a Carry
Seriously,
V2 eventually?
we didn't solicit this. We
No.
had a user, one of your customers
sent it to us.
Sent it to us. And it's going to happen again. I mean, at some point they will send one because they're going to want a review everywhere.
Right. So would it not be prudent to just go ahead and send it to us so we can do a review on the launcher?
I know.
And then we can say, what I want to say ideally is that the Carry V2 is the saving grace for the Solstice, which in my opinion was a failure. And the opinion of Grimburg, if it wasn't their opinion, why would they switch?
Oh, and by the way, before this question comes up, and it will, we have never kept a Grimburg product that we did not pay for. The gavel you see right here, defective. This was shipped to me defective because I wanted one for the retired board. So Kurt said, here, have this one, doesn't work anyways. That's why you can see it's pretty ratty, right? And
Cool.
this doesn't even unscrew. I think it's like
Yeah.
glued in or something. But I wanted it for the board.
Yep.
This one, purchased.
Yep.
Grimburg has sent that. Remember we did the tier, okay? It went back to Grimburg.
Right.
We don't have a dog in this fight, guys.
This Solstice is going to go back to
It's going back
our
to him
viewer.
tomorrow. Yeah, that's his box. It's going back to him tomorrow.
Now, if we kept it, it'd be going on to the retired board.
It
ironically.
would, yes, straight
Right.
from the box, straight to the board. That's exactly because they retired it. But my point is, guys, we do not have a dog in this fight. We don't sell them. There's no commission on them. We don't make any money on them, nor have we ever even tried to make any money on them. All we are here for is the truth.
The truth, right.
That's it.
And that's why at the end of the day, the only opinion that matters is yours. None of the manufacturers, and that includes, Byrna, Umarex, Grimburg, none of their opinions matter.
That's right. And these are still going out into the field, guys, so.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. That was a heck of a video, so I'm going to be splicing in a bunch of stuff. Hopefully I can get this video out today, which is Monday the 3rd.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's like, what, 3:30?
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm reading my freckles.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
All right.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.